All right, so this is Math 7. This is our review before the test, which is tomorrow. This is your equation study guide. Your test is similar. Part of the test will be on Mastery Connect. Part of it's multiple choice, and then part of it will be done, my understanding is on paper. I still haven't gotten the paper piece, but there's a rubric. I don't think you have to type it into Mastery Connect. I think you will be doing it on paper. That part I'm waiting to find out. Hopefully I'll find out that piece this afternoon. Okay, so let's look at problem number 1. How did I get the answer C? I combined my like terms. But before I did that, I got rid of the subtraction signs. So 2a plus negative 5a gives me negative 3a. And 7 plus 6 is 13. And it does say an expression, and expressions don't have equal signs. So which one is the simplified expression for that? It is C, negative 3a plus 13. Any questions on that? Number 2 is another simplifying expression, which means you're not going to find the value for x, you're just simplifying the expression. In this problem, get rid of your subtraction signs. Then you will use the distributive property. When you distribute, you are going to multiply 7 times x and 7 times negative 5. That's how I have 7x plus negative 35 plus negative 2x. Now I have to combine my like terms. 7x plus negative 2x leaves you with 5x. And you have 5x plus negative 35. That is the same thing as 5x minus 35. Any questions? 5x plus negative 35 is the same as 5x minus 35. Now let's look at the next problem. This says x over 9 minus 3 equals 3. They were having problems key coding this in to make it balanced, but I think most of you could figure out what it was saying. To undo subtracting 3, you add 3. You then had x divided by 9 equals 6. To undo dividing 9, you show the step of multiplying both sides by 9. And yes, you have to show these steps to get credit. Now, this cancels out, and you have quarantined your x. It's all by itself, and x equals 54. D. Any questions? In number 4, to undo adding 20, you subtract 20. You then have x divided by 12 equals 0. To undo dividing by 12, you multiply both sides by 12. And 12 times 0 is 0. X equals 0. A. Any questions? Number 5, solve the equation. In this one, first you subtract 55 from both sides, which means you add the opposite. Negative 77 plus negative 55 is negative 132, and that equals negative 1x. Now you don't want a negative x, you have to make it a positive x. So you divide both sides by negative 1. And negative divided by negative is positive. 132 equals x. A is the answer. I noticed a lot of you made a careless mistake on number 5 yesterday. Make sure you fix it. Now let's go on to number, are there any questions on 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5? Okay, let's go to problem number 6. In number 6, we combine our like terms. And before we do that, we get rid of our subtraction signs. You add the opposite. 2 plus negative 3 is negative 1. So I have 5t plus negative 1 equals 34. Now, to get rid of a negative 1, you add a positive 1 to both sides to balance your equation. You now have 5t equals 35. To undo multiplying by 5, you divide both sides by 5. T equals positive 7. Any questions? Number 7. Solve the equation. Here you get rid of your subtraction signs by adding the opposite. You have negative 5m plus negative 6m equals negative 11m plus the 17 equals 50. Subtract 17 from both sides. Now you have negative 11m equals 33. Divide both sides by negative 11. 33 divided by negative 11 is negative 3. B, negative 3. Any questions? Yes?
So wait, are we doing something like these parts on paper?
Yes.
Do we have to do a check step on these parts?
Only for points, only if it asks for points. On the other side, you will see where it says it, and you have to do it for points on that side. This side, not so much. Number 8, which equation represents the verbal sentence? Twice a number, that's 2n, plus 5 is equal to 27. Now you have to be careful. I circled B first, then after I went back and looked, it's like, oh, that's a 20n, not 2n. The correct answer is 2n plus 5 equals 27. They'll do things like that just to make sure you are looking carefully. All right, number 9, I think was a mistake. I couldn't really figure out what they wanted on that problem. So I just circled C, M equals number of miles. Could anyone else figure out what was being asked? Yes.
I kind of learned that it was like asking me
What variable to use?
Yeah.
I think, so that's what I sort of thought too. And in this one you need miles, so that's why I circled C as the number of miles. But it was, the question says, how many miles did the taxi travel? And I found that towards the bottom of the paper here. I have the answer for you on that one. All right, so choose the correct equation. The correct equation is C. 2x plus 1.5 equals 21. So because a taxi charges its initial fee of $1.50 and then $2 for every mile traveled. So on this one, I subtract $1.50. I then get 2x equals 19.5. When I divide that by 2, they traveled 9.75 miles, or 9 3/4 miles, which it didn't ask for you to solve that. All right, any questions on the front page? Okay, let's go to the next page. Now, it says here 1 point for each line, so make sure you answer each line, okay? Because this will be worth 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points on the test. All right, -4, -4. Draw your line and cancel. The result is 9 times y equals -18. Now my next step, to undo multiplying by 9, I'm going to divide. We show division in algebra with the bar. My answer, y equals -2. And yes, you have to do a check step. 9 times -2, -18, plus 4. Yes, it does. Any questions? Where did I put down my drink here? Here it is. All right, let's go on to number 12. In number 12, we have to undo subtracting 12. Add 12, add 12. And yes, you have to show it 2 times. You can't just put down once. I'll count a point off on this step. you now have x divided by 2 equals 12. Now, my step, I'm just going to show it right up here. To undo dividing by 2, I multiply by 2. If you want to recopy the whole thing down there, you can. But if you just draw an arrow, I'll know that you have your step there. Do you understand? Now, my answer, x equals 24. 24 divided by 2 is 12, and 12 minus 12 equals 0. Yes, it does. Any questions? Okay, let's go on to number 13. Add 8, add 8. 13 times p equals 13. Divide by 13, divide by 13 to undo the multiplication. P equals 1. Well, 13 times 1 is 13 minus 8 equal 5. Yes, it does. Any questions? All right. On the next problem, very important to get rid of your subtraction sign. So that's a negative 1y. Here, see that? That's a negative 1y. So I combine my like terms. Negative 3y plus negative 1y, negative 4y plus 15 equals 39. Any questions? All right. Minus 15 minus 15. Bring down my equal sign. I now have negative 4y equals, divide by negative 4, divide by negative 4. Y equals negative 6. Let's see if it's right. So, negative 3 times negative 6 is positive 18. Plus 15 plus negative 1 times negative 6 is positive 6, okay? Equals 39. Do you see how I got the positive 6 in that step? All right. 18 plus 15 is 33 plus 6 is 39. Yes, it is. All right. Number 15. Add the opposite, add the opposite. Combine like terms. 13t plus negative 10t is 3t plus negative 7 equals 2. To get rid of a negative 7, you add a positive 7. That will cancel it out. You now have 3 times t equals 9. Divide by 3, divide by 3. T equals 3. Does 13 times 3 is 39 plus negative 7 plus negative 10 times 3 is a negative 30. Does that equal 2? Well, 39 plus negative 7 will give you a 32, and 32 plus a negative 30 is a positive 2. Any questions? All right. Number 16. Distributive property, 5 times n and 5 times 2. 5n plus 10 equals 25. Minus 10 minus 10. 5 times n equals 15. Divide by 5, divide by 5, n equals 3? Does 5 times 3 plus 2 equal 25? 3 plus 2 is 5, and 5 times 5 equals 25. Yes, it does. Any questions on this page? Yes.
So like, you know how you like amplify when you check?
On my check step, I use 2 lines.
Yeah, do you have to do that?
No, just make sure when you do it, you're not just copying it down and checking it. Really check it to make sure your answer is right, okay? Yes, on the check step, kids do check steps differently. I'm not real strict on the check step. Now, on the rest of it, yes, it has to all be a certain way. But if you combine your terms before you multiply a certain way, that's all right, okay? Any questions? All right, let's go to the next page, our word problems. Read the problem carefully. Define the variable. Write an equation to solve the problem. Solve and check the equation showing proper algebraic steps and label your answers. Okay, so here you need to make sure you label your answer. You won't get full credit. If you just put x equals 13 instead of 13 dogs, I could only give you half credit for that line. Okay, you have a job raking leaves. You make $6.50 each hour plus tips. You made $12.50 in tips last week and made a total of $110. How many hours did you work? Variable. I am going to choose H equals hours. You can have any variable, but it needs to equal hours. Our equation. Well, $6.50 each hour. 6.5 times H plus the person made $12.50 in tips and they were paid $110. That's the equation. Now you subtract $12.50 from each side. Now make sure you line your decimal points up here. And you end up with 6.5 times H equals 10 minus 5 is 5, 9 minus 2 is 7, 10 minus 1 is 9, so $97.50. Now you're going to divide both sides by 6.5. And your answer, H equals $97.50 divided by 6.5. You move it once, goes into it one time, subtract, let's see. Did I make a mistake? Oh, I forgot to 9 minus 6 is, that's what I forgot. 9 minus 6 is 3. Now, the 1 should be above the 7, excuse me on that. So now I bring down the 5. It will go into that 5 times. And so H equals 15. Don't forget to write the word hours. If you don't have hours on it, you would lose a half a point. Now, does 6.5 times 15 plus $12.50 equal 110? Well, 6.5 times 15 is $97.50 plus $12.50. Yes, it does. Any questions? All right, number 18. You have $101 to spend on party favors. On the internet, you find hats that cost $7 each. The shipping and handling charge is $10 for the entire order. How many hats can you buy? All right, I'm going to use H again. and it equals hats. You should know how to do these because these were similar to the ones we did on the word problem worksheet. So you have 7 times h plus 10 equals $101. Minus 10 minus 10, 7 times h equals 91. Divide by 7, divide by 7, h equals 13. 7 times 13 is 91 plus 10, that equals 101. There's my check step. Any questions? Yes, question.
Can we put any variable or do we have to put h?
You could use any variable, but you have to say the variable equals hats, okay? You can't just say x. You have to tell me what x represents or what your variable represents. Any questions? Yes.
So we could use any variable, we just have to tell you what it is.
Right, unless it says to use a certain variable, but here you can choose any variable. All right, let's go on to the last page here. Now in number 19, the way I do this is I solve each one of these problems to see which ones end up being the same. So, negative 5x plus negative 45. Nope. This equals, add the opposite, negative 5x plus 45. Yep, circle B. This one, add the opposite. 12x plus negative 17x is negative 5x, and 30 plus 15, 45. Circle C, it equals the same thing. In this one, negative 8x plus 3x is negative 5x. 60 minus 15. And D, there are 3 of them that match this one. So number 19, all 3 of them equal it. Yeah. No, I'm going over what's on a test. If you can just wait, I have one more problem. After that problem, I can say yes, okay? Unless it's an emergency. Okay, number 20. Place the given steps in the correct order to solve the following equation. Note all choices will be used. Oh, note, not all choices will be used. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is multiply 3 times x. That's not written there. Oh, but distribute 3 to the x is. So that is your first step. Distribute 3 to the x. Then I distribute 3 to the 6. So now you have 3x plus 18 equals 72. Now the next thing you're going to do is E. Subtract 18 from each side. Minus 18 minus 18. You have 3 times x equals 54. So now the next step, you are going to divide each side by 3. Divide each side by 6? No, we're going to divide each side by 3. B. Then our final one, we end up with x equals 18. So the final answer is D. X equals 18. So here it shows the answers. F, C, E, B, and D. Are there any questions on how to do these problems? All right, so your test will be similar to this tomorrow. Now, we have a worksheet, a little packet of some things to practice on. It doesn't look like this. It's just to practice on different things that I'm going to give to you. And I'm gonna walk around the room when I pass it out and look at keep this out so I can see how you did and if you have any questions, okay? And I'll give you the